When I was a boy, my mother. I'm not doing this anyway. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 5 of Sonic Comic Chaos. Today, on this very special show, we will be discussing Waves of Change, the third arc. Technically, not technically, because there's like some arcs that are like one issue, but the third like trade paperback arc of the rebooted Sonic the Hedgehog continuity.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, water. But before we dive into any of that,
You didn't even do that on purpose. That's how clever you are.
I know it's great. Ian, would you like to plug your channel really quick?
Yeah, so my name's Ian Waffles. I have a YouTube channel where I very rarely post things. Otherwise, you can catch me hanging out here with the Silver Ace talking about the Sonic comics. But otherwise, every now and then I just upload about whatever character catches my interest. I've made videos about My Hero Academia, some Kyoto animation shows, and recently the Ghosted Molly McGee from Disney and Kingdom Hearts. So if any of that stuff interests you, you can kind of head over there and watch whatever I have. But until then, it's Sonic time, baby. So let's do it. To it.
Yes. I agreed. However, before we hop in, I have a new segment of the show called Ian and Ace Read Your Comments to encourage more people to comment.
Ooh.
The name needs work. But we're going to be reading only one for today because we haven't gotten a lot. But I'm looking for it. I had it pulled up. Oh no, this is falling apart. Okay. So this is in response to a question we got from James Falicasa. I hope I'm saying that right. Who asked, when you guys are finished talking about the reboot era of Archie Sonic, are you guys going to cover preboot or something else altogether? And now I actually responded to this person. Basically, I just said, like, we just started this, so we're not really thinking about what's coming next. Ian, I was wondering if you had anything to say on that.
I mean, nothing's off the table except for Sonic the Comic, which is the worst thing ever. So, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind going back through preboot, but, you know.
Ian, I was drinking water.
Well, as everybody knows, it's your favorite Sonic property, so you couldn't stand it hearing it be slandered.
Don't put that on me.
Oh, wait, now that you're already close to dying. Whoa!
If people don't understand that reference, go watch the discussion we did on Sonic Prime.
Part 1, yeah.
Not
That's
even
what Sonic would do.
But yeah, other than that, I mean, Ian's the one guy on the internet who will talk to me, so I'm sure after we've got this wrapped up, he'll be back in some shape or form. Unless he dies again. But hopefully that doesn't happen.
Minor inconvenience. So
yeah, we were able to bring him back to life. We gathered 7 rocks. We found a princess to kiss him. It all worked out.
And if you don't get that reference, you can go watch the old episodes. Plug.
Yes,
so, yeah.
They will. Yes, click something. They're all on the playlist on the Silver Ace 01 YouTube channel right now. I made a community post about it. It got like 2 likes. But anyway,
jumping right in.
Thus concludes the first edition of Ian and Ace Read Your Comments. So yes, let's jump right in to Sonic the Hedgehog, issue number 260, Waves of Change, part 1. And I gotta be honest, I'm still reeling from choking on the water. I gotta be honest.
Fitting.
I don't know if we're gonna have a lot to say about any particular issue in this arc.
That's okay. Not all of them need to be big, long, chunky boys. So, but I think is that kind of telling? Is that kind of telling? Okay. Oh, I was gonna say, is that kind of telling of your thought process on the arc in general?
I think the arc is decent. There's a lot of stuff I like about it, but overall, it's like, it's whatever. Like,
yeah, no, definitely, and we can. I guess we can. I guess if you want, actually, you want to cover the B story first, and kind of get that out of the way. It's pretty self-explanatory.
No, I don't want to cover the B story, and because the B story is nothing. But sure, let's do it. So this is the backup story for the first 3 of the 4 issues of this arc, where essentially this first issue is with our team, with our freedom fighters splitting up into different teams. One team has to stay behind to guard the base. One team goes to the beach, which is our main story, where we see Mr. Sharkman. And then we have a third team comprised of Sally, Tails, and Antoine, right? I think it's just them.
And Nicole.
And I guess Nicole. Yeah, and Nicole. So they go and they find this cave with a Chaos Emerald in it. And then the first arc ends with first issue ends with them just going like, what? What's in this cave? It's rocks. There's a lot of rocks in the cave.
A lot of pretty rocks.
Yeah. And so our heroes, they find the Chaos Emerald, and they're like, okay, well, let's get out of here. And they're like, but Eggman will destroy the pretty rocks. And Nicole's like, who cares about the rocks? And then they're like, wait, Nicole, look at the rocks. And Nicole's like, oh, you're right. The rocks are pretty. We can't let him destroy them. And so they're like, well, we need to make sure Eggman knows we were here. And so they moon in front of his camera. And then they leave. They're like, you know what? It's a good thing that the rocks weren't destroyed. That's the B plot of the story.
What? Your heart wasn't moved by the idea of we have to protect the planet that we're trying to save, and we have to know what we're saving?
No,
that didn't move your cold dead heart, Silver Ace.
No.
Okay, fair enough.
Did it move yours?
Huh?
Were you moved by it?
No,
were you moved by it?
I was just more like, that's cute.
I mean, it's here's the thing. I'm being harsher on it than like I actually felt in the moment. It's passable. It's fine. Like, it does what it needs to.
Was there something about it specifically that made you, at the very least, like just look at this premise and be like, well, that was a dumb premise, or was it like it had a cool premise that you were interested in and you felt like they just kind of didn't do anything with it?
It's just I mean, it kind of everything. I mean, like. Part of the problem, right, is that Nicole, like, I don't know if this is meant to be part of like a wider arc for her about learning to become like human, I guess, for lack of a better term, and needing to appreciate like the world, or if this was just like a one-off thing, because like it was just weird. I can't really place what bothered me about it. It felt like very I don't know, I guess like unimportant is the best way I could put it. Like the character stuff wasn't really that good. Like, 'cause that's the thing, right? Is that I've gone on record saying like I can watch characters do like pretty much whatever if it's interesting and fun, and like I like the characters. But like there was just nothing really that interesting. The best thing I could say about it is like I like the art. Like there's a lot of fun details in it.
Yeah, I think I think just like this arc in general, or like the main story, it feels like a story that could have been cut down by one issue,
Oh, absolutely.
And so, which obviously, like, we have the benefit of binging it, but it's more like the pace at which it goes, and then by the end of it, what you feel like you got out of it, whether that be character interactions or a story or whatever, it just feels like so like pedestrian, it just feels like, okay, that was cute.
Yeah.
And then it's like you got all these characters that are around that aren't really like contributing too much, or at least aren't being that entertaining. So it's just kind of one of those things where, yeah, like I agree with you, where it's like it's fine, but I didn't want to have to read like 3 different stories about it.
Yeah. Again, if I can give it any props, the artwork is very nice. There's a lot of fun details. Like, anytime if you want to like look in the background, Tails and Cream are usually doing something like fun or cute. Like in this first issue, you got Tails and Cream, and like Cheese is giving him some cookies. And then I literally just noticed this, but in the last part of it, if you look in the background when Bunny is talking to Antoine about like the whole wedding ring thing, Cream is like looking at the Chaos Emerald with like these big like anime eyes, and Tails looks like so full of himself. He's like, yeah, I got that. Like,
right.
Yeah, it's fine, but
Yeah, and then obviously we get introduced to Cassia and Clove. That's their names. And we don't get too much of a sense for them, just kind of that they're just like, ugh, Eggman.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well,
not really
I
much,
will.
not really much to say about them. Although I do like them later once we get kind of more out of them.
I will say I was intrigued by them. It seems like they're gonna have some pretty interesting backstories.
Yeah,
Again,
there's
yeah,
a bit of like hinting at like kind of their like dynamic where it's like one of them's kind of like the scrappy one who's like, I want to let me at him, and they're just like, no, you need to calm down. You're still healing or whatever. So I was like, oh,
yeah,
it sets some interesting stuff up there.
yeah. Well, and I like the idea of like people like willingly going, just in general, people like willingly going to Eggman for like maybe like they're. I mean, I got the idea that like something happened with these two, and so like they needed robot parts.
Yeah, so
And so
that's something that kind of established that'll be interesting to follow up on.
yeah, so like I always like the idea of like you see this a lot in like a tokusatsu with like Kamen Rider or Super Sentai, where it's like the monsters come from like these Faustian bargains that like just normal people make. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and also Eggman he just continues to be great.
Oh yeah, he's always fun.
Um,
Um,
but yeah,
but yeah, I don't really
I
have
think
anything else to say on the B story.
yeah, it's fine. But so then we can hop into the main story, which is better, but I don't know how much I'll have to say about it, just because like uh I don't have a lot of like I have like very few notes for this one. But so I guess we should get into it. So it starts as I said, the team split up because we're seeing essentially what happened in Sonic Unleashed, where at night, Gaia monsters come out. That's happening all around the world. We see it's happening in Westopolis, which I thought was a fun name drop.
Yeah.
And so Sonic and his team, which comprises of himself, Amy, and Rotor, which I thought was an interesting team, just because like I don't know, like obviously Sonic and Amy makes sense, but having Rotor just tag along felt like a little weird, you know?
Right.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
usually you think
Rotor's kind of supposed to. We're kind of establishing his, I guess, character in this comic, which is that he's like the big picture guy.
Mm. I did
Um,
like that. I did like that conflict that we saw later on.
yeah, exactly. So that was something that they kind of establish here. And it's nice to see him like kind of get to do some action and stuff. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And so we meet our first new character for this arc, who is Razor the Shark and his little chow named Crusher. And their whole deal is that essentially Amy hears a voice out of a hole who's like, I'm going to send someone to get you. And he's who they send. Thoughts on this character?
On the kind of the shark boy.
Yeah.
Um, I think like him and Coral and Squirt, like all of them, like just these fish people in general. Like I'm just like, yeah, you're fine. Like, and not even in like a dismissive way, just more like, no, I'm happy to see like these kind of new species of Sonic characters just getting introduced, and like I enjoyed seeing them. So
You
yeah,
take
like I
that
mean,
back. Coral is a treasure.
exactly. So I enjoy what is the shark boy's name?
Razor.
Razor. Yeah, I enjoy Razor, and he'll show up later, and he's a lot more endearing there too. So it was kind of nice to see, like, oh yeah, this is where he first appears.
Another thing I really like is that pretty much anytime Sonic has to wait for at any point in this comic, he's always pacing.
Yeah,
There,
no, Sonic has a lot of good like little character moments.
oh yeah, and there's one point later on where we see he's like paced a hole in the ground, like he's just a massive imprint around like where he's standing, which I think was fun. But so essentially, we see that they have magic plot devices which allow them to breathe underwater, that they give to each of the characters, so they can go to the underwater area where Razor and Coral live. We get another fun character bit from Sonic where he's just thinking about how much he hates water.
Yeah.
I really like that bit.
Oh yeah, Sonic's great the whole time.
Oh yeah, I think that is probably my favorite thing about this arc is just Sonic's characterization. Because he's a very like active protagonist in it, whereas like oftentimes nowadays he's like a very like reactive character, whereas in this a lot of times he's taking charge, he's he's making decisions, he's getting up to and trying to make stuff happen, which I thought was cool.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But so we meet more characters. We meet what's this person's name? The little one. You know who I'm talking about? The little one.
Yeah,
Here we are.
the little one who hates Chow.
Yeah, Pearly. They didn't have her box come up on the first page she's on, so I was confused. Okay, but so we meet Pearly, who's the apprentice of Coral, who's the priestess of the temple. And she's great. I like her. Well, we get a fun bit where she's the Chow is reincarnating. It's going into its little egg so it can come back to life again.
Yeah. There's
Which
there's a lot of really cool like Sonic lore integration, like with the Chow or like things with like chaos and things like that. And I mean even the charms are basically just the water, the water shield from Sonic 3. So
Oh yeah. But like that's one thing I really liked about that I've really liked about this book so far is whereas obviously Preboot is very much its own thing. Like it incorporates elements from the games, but it's very much its own universe. It's got its own lore. This is, it has these other characters, but it feels a lot more like, Ian just has like the entire toy box of like the Sonic game universe to play with. And so he's just like doing all these things where it's like, Chaos and Chow and Tikal and whatever we saw last arc. There was some cool stuff there. Oh, like and E100 robots and like, so that's really cool to see.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
But so Coral tries giving us exposition on the Chow, and it's funny because she just goes into it, right, and she just goes like, "Oh yeah, well you might not know, but Chow are these things, and they reincarnate and they grow through the power of love." And Amy just goes, "No, we know about that." Like,
yeah,
which I thought was fun.
Well, Amy also in general in this arc is a lot more like really endearing and again strikes that nice balance of like just being cute, but also like being proactive and being like a leader, which I enjoyed.
Yeah, I enjoyed that too. We find out that essentially at night there's like dark Gaia fish that are swimming around this area.
Yeah.
Which was that I don't remember that from Unleashed, but I guess there were no water levels in Unleashed, so it's like just a worm with like a dark Gaia monster head on it, which is fun.
Oh yeah, I like their designs.
Yeah, but essentially we learned that Coral's whole deal is that she has to use the Mystic Melody from Sonic Adventure to both take care of this Chow and to put up a protective barrier around the temple and around the underwater city, so that way these dark Gaia creatures can't get in and like murder everyone.
Right.
And so it not much more to say. Amy goes and talks to her, and it's a cute conversation. Not much to say. We essentially just find out that like Coral is pretty insecure and doesn't have a lot of confidence in herself, and they draw a parallel between Amy and her and how she's like oh well I used to not believe in myself, but then I fought a robot with a hammer and now I do.
Yeah, and she's like, "That's fake. You're a liar."
I did think that was fun, where she's just she just lists off like all this stuff from the previous games, and and Coral's like that did not happen. Which one thing which I thought was fun. The last thing she goes is princesses from other dimensions who control fire, and I was like, wait, is she talking about Elise? And I was like, oh no, Blaze. Like, I'm just my bias for the greatest Sonic game of all time was seeping in there when I was reading that. But
yeah, why couldn't it have been just Coral in Sonic Unleashed? Let a fish lady kiss Sonic. That'd be cool.
I have a whole video where I talk about that, but we're not going to get into that right now. Not specifically a fish lady, but
okay.
But so essentially, they're like, Coral's like, oh no, the Chow's dead. I killed it. Although it's funny, so she screams, right, and she's crying, and I was like, oh god, are we gonna see like, because I assume when a Chow dies because you like throw it around too much in Sonic Adventure 2, its egg turns black. I was like, oh my god, are we going there? But like, no, the egg's fine.
Just taking a little bit. The Wi-Fi is weak.
Oh man, I feel that. But so Coral is needless to say a tad concerned, and then the issue ends with us seeing this guy who kind of looks like Chip if he were like stretched out a bit and had an eye patch. You see
I
what
didn't
I'm
think of
saying,
that.
right?
No, I get you. Yeah, he's got the same color scheme.
Yeah. And that ends issue 260. Going into 261, starts off similar thing. Patchy McGee is here. He's giving them trouble. One thing I appreciated was you see like the cultural differences between the different Mobian populations. Because like obviously the ones we've seen, they all wear like gloves and shoes and stuff, whereas these ones don't. I think this guy he has like a glove on, but a lot of them are like barefoot with their weird blob feet, which makes sense when you consider the fact that they have to like swim around and stuff, which I just thought was a neat detail.
Yeah, I mean, in general, I really like the what are they? There's the Aquarians or whatever, Aquarius. That's where
I
they're
think
from.
they're something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I really like all their designs and just kind of getting to see this new culture in a Sonic game. Like these people in their place is a place like that I would want to see in the games. Like, you know.
Oh, absolutely. But we never will. So that's fun.
Hooray.
Gosh darn it, Archie. But so yeah, we get Coral, who just this poor thing just is put through the ringer through this entire story. But so what is this guy's actual name? Because it would be funny if I just kept calling him Patchy McGee. But okay, Captain Stryker. So Stryker's like, why is the chow still in its egg? We're gonna bring her to the king and queen. And we get a really fun bit from Sonic where he's like, listen, either you can invite us along and we can come quietly, or I'm going to cause an international incident.
Oh yeah, I absolutely loved that. Just like Sonic's just no nonsense, just kind of jerkish nature, but it's like he's doing it for the right reasons and also because you annoyed me, which which I love.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. Well, one thing I thought was interesting is in this how we very much see Sonic who he annoys others and he kind of gets in the way of people, but he does it all in service of what he believes to be the right thing. Which I thought was cool because I remember I saw a video a while back. I want to say like LS marketed it where he kind of hit the nail on the head where he was like, Sonic doesn't do what's right. He does what he thinks is right. Yeah. And I think that this arc really shows that.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's what I've always liked about Preboot Sonic is that his moral code just kind of comes from whatever he feels at the time.
Yeah.
And it makes him more relatable because like he's gonna do the right thing, but how he's gonna do it and why he does it is just simply because it feels right at the moment, not because he's like a superhero with a moral code, which is unfortunately kind of what IDW has like skewed him towards.
Yeah, well, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who is wrong and who is right.
Yeah, which is a legitimate thing that I think that I wish more writers would kind of take advantage of.
Yeah, but well, because I mean, we saw a lot in Preboot too. Like the instance that comes to my mind is when Locke, that was Knuckles' dad's name, right?
Yeah.
Is like, okay, I got this gun that's totally gonna murder the shit out of Knuckles, who is now Enerjack. And Sonic's like, hey, can I just hold that for a second? Okay, cool.
Yeah, and he breaks.
Like, no, we're not gonna kill Knuckles. But anyway, so cutting back to this, we see the king and queen, and the king is just like this little guy. It's like, but like he puffs up sometimes, but like the way they
little puffer fish boy, man.
Yeah, but the way they draw him puffing up is weird because they don't do it where it's like comedically like big. It's just kind of like weird and spiky, which might be more accurate to how pufferfish actually are. But I don't know. But so, and we have the queen who's just the fish. She's a little bulb on. Yes. Oh my lord, she's named. Their names are King Puff and Queen Angelica.
Well, there you go.
Oh my lord, man, you hit the nail on the head. They're a little too hard there, Flynn. But whatever. So Sonic is like, look, I have no respect for you. I'm just gonna lay that on the table right now. And so he's like, what's going on here? And so the queen explains it to him, and it's the scene where, to save time, we cut between the queen explaining this to Sonic and the the small manta ray explaining it to Rotor. Basically, it's like, look, we need the priestess to defend us from this stuff, and the Chow is very important. I never really got, and maybe this was just me not paying attention. Is the Chow being important like a superstitious thing, like a tradition thing, or does the Chow actually do something?
I feel like it actually does something because the shield doesn't come back up until like it gets fixed.
Well, wasn't that
So
all? Wasn't that more of like a Coral confidence thing than a Chow thing? Because they say like, hey, you still need to put the shield up even when it's still in its egg.
yeah, but then I don't know.
I would maybe it like boosts her power or like whoever the priestess
I
power
would
is.
imagine. I mean, they're Chow, so it's not like they're not magic. So
Yeah, yeah. But so essentially, yeah. So they're talking, and Coral's like, no, look, shit's been rough. The world's broken in pieces. I'm doing my best. And well, Sonic's the one who tells them the world's in pieces. And they're both like, how do you really expect us to believe that? And they're like, well, how would there even be water still if the world was broken in pieces? And they're like, we don't know. We're not Ian Flynn. Ask him. But so this whole scene goes up. Man, this is a really long scene.
yeah, there's a lot of talking.
There's a lot of talking. But so essentially, this all ends with Coral being discharged, and they're like, we will find another person to be the priestess. And what I thought was interesting was how they say, oh man, our daughter should have been the priestess, but instead we have you. And it's like, wait, is Ian, is that a character who comes back later? It was because that just felt like a weird thing to drop.
Yeah, it's set up because she'll be back later for an arc.
Okay, because there's just like and they're saying now how like, oh, she wasn't abroad. And because I remember thinking back, I was like, oh, why you're in charge? Why didn't you just put your daughter there? But I guess that's the explanation for it. But okay, Ian's hanging up Chekhov's guns.
Yes.
So we cut back. Also, I'm now realizing these Chow look really weird.
What do you mean? Just
like
like their kind of little designs or whatever.
Yeah, can I make Chow that look like this, like in the game? Like it's like green and it's got like a blue thing on its head and like a tan belly. Like
I'm guessing it's just more of an extension of like them being like the fish people or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I guess because the whole thing with Chow is that they're influenced by the people around them. Which I thought the best bit in that was in Preboot, where we find out that Omo Chow's origin is that he hung out with Sonic's dad for too long.
Yeah, which is great.
Yeah. But so essentially we got back and we see the scene I was talking about before where Sonic's just paced a hole in the sand. And they're all like, man, the king and queen suck and Coral should be able to keep her job and she's great and they suck. And Rotor's like, and basically it comes down to a conversation between Sonic and Rotor where Rotor's like, yes, it's very sad. But at the same time, we're kind of dealing with the world being shattered. So we really don't have time to be dealing with that. And Sonic's like, you know, what's it? And I'm only now realizing that I guess Flynn was trying to draw a parallel between this and the backup story. Because in both instances, it's about like appreciating the world that you're trying to save. And Sonic brings up a point where he's like, what's the point of saving the world if we're not, worried about the people who live on it? And it's a good scene. I really enjoyed it. And I think, and it's weird because these two characters are kind of like the perfect two to have this conversation, because Rotor obviously is very analytical, whereas Sonic's more of a free spirit. Like I guess the only other character I could really see having this problem with Sonic is maybe Tails, but then you run into the problem of like, first of all, Tails is a child, and second of all, Tails practically worships Sonic, and so I don't know if he would ever have like that different of a mindset from him. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Okay, but so we have that. We move on from that. Coral's sad. We get a. Oh, Ian, we didn't mention the "Let's do it to it" from the first issue.
Oh yeah, Sally says it, right?
Yeah. Well, we got one, folks. Put it on the counter.
Yep, we find it. It's stuck. Now we just gotta find Hasta La Vista, Mista.
Yeah, somehow I don't think that's gonna happen. But so, but so they're like, well, maybe we could have Coral come join us up on Sky Patrol, and I just had a note that said, "Yes, please."
Yeah, they can put her in like the bathtub or whatever. She could live there.
It's like that. Okay, I'm gonna make a deep cut. Not really a deep cut reference, but do you remember Shark Boy and Lava Girl?
Of course I do.
Okay, so do you remember that scene at the beginning where the way he keeps Shark Boy is that like he closes his shower like thing and
Yeah,
somehow he's
he has
able to
one. He
fill
has
the
one of those like
water?
rectangle showers.
Yeah, that's not how that works. That always confused me as a kid. I was like, what? I guess they could do that. But wait, but we don't really have much time to dwell on that because my other note is I want to know what the deal is with this underwater lamp because you look and I guess they're not underwater at this point though, because in the background when Coral's like having her breakdown, you just see Razor. He's just lighting like a little ball lamp that's just on the wall. I just found that fun. I don't know why. But so Sonic's like, hey, do you wanna join the freedom fighters? You'd be fun. They're like, oh, we'll think about it. But they don't have much time to think about it because due to the fact that Coral is having a mental breakdown, she was not able to keep the shield up. So that goes down, and so the dark guy creatures show up, and it's not good. Not good for anyone.
Indeed. And that's the end of part 2, right?
That is the end of part 2. So that brings us into Sonic the Hedgehog, issue number 262, Waves of Change, part trace. So we open up again. They're being overwhelmed by dark guy creatures. Well, I can get to my one note, which is essentially they talk about how these dark guy creatures could very well just be like people or like animals, who were exposed to the dark Gaia stuff. And Amy brings up like, "Hey Sonic, you breathed that in too, right?" And one line I really liked was him going, "Not a priority right now, Amy," which I liked that because obviously in the other issues, it's kind of presented more as Sonic just like not wanting to deal with it, whereas in this it's more so like Sonic's probably concerned about it. I think there's another scene earlier in the book where he's like where they're talking about the gas and he's got like this look on his face where he's like, oh no. But he isn't dealing with it because he prioritizes the well-being of other people above himself, which I thought was a neat detail.
That's where you get like more of the hero side of Sonic, which is really nice.
Sonic and Rotor go off to Meropis. Why didn't they just go with Meropolis? Would that not have been anyway? So they go off to Meropis, and they're where the dark guy creatures are attacking, and they help fight with the Royal Guard.
I was gonna say, I don't really think there's much for this issue because it's just one big fight.
There's not. Coral tries to get the Chow to come back. Oh my god. There's a box here on the panel where Coral is trying to bring back the shield and is trying to bring back the Chow. And the text box says Aquarius, the shrine's sacred Chow, in parentheses, or used to be. Jesus.
Oh boy.
That's oof. That's no good.
Even the story is not convinced you're gonna do it. Pull it off.
But we find out, dun dun dun, that Sonic and Rotor's charms were only half charged, and so they run out while they're fighting underwater, and it's not good. Sonic's werehogging out. Rotor's held by a big Gaia thing. It's not fun. It's no bueno.
Cool little detail is that whenever they say like, oh, the thing is running out of energy or whatever, and they're talking, half of the word bubble is colored blue and the other half is colored black to show that like it's weakening in power.
Yes, I did appreciate that. Also, I only just now noticed this, but Rotor is a walrus, meaning he's an aquatic animal. So that's probably why they sent him on this mission.
Indeed,
I didn't even think about it. I didn't even think about that. But I'm looking at the panel now where Sonic's like, "Get us to the surface," and I assume he's doing that because like, hey, you have flippers. What are you doing here for?
Yeah.
But so that concludes issue number 262, and so we lead into the final issue of Waves of Change. Sonic the Hedgehog, issue 263, Waves of Change, part 4. With a cover that spoils the biggest reveal of the issue. Okay, so we come back into the issue. Sonic and Rotor are fighting this Gaia thing. It's not going well. Sonic's about to werehog out, but then... Oh, actually, we're not quite there yet. So Sonic passes out. But then we come back to the others, Amy and Pearly and all them. And Pearly's like, we need to go like now. They're probably drowning. And they're all like, they're all like, we're a little busy. So then, however, we see a mysterious pink hand show up to help Coral out with bringing the Chow back. And then back with Sonic, we see none other than Chaos, the water god, sometimes of destruction, helping. What the heck are my neighbors doing? Can you hear that on the mic?
No, you're good.
They're just screaming outside. What? Anyway, I guess they're as excited about Chaos as we are. So he shows up,
and it is really cool to have him back. Like I really did like that.
Oh yeah, my note literally just is in all caps, Chaos. So
Chaos.
And this episode will certainly be titled The Return of Chaos. He shows up, he beats up this big Gaia thing, and then we see the Royal Guard show up and help Amy and Razor and all them at the temple. And we find out Aquarius comes back to life and looks different now. It looks really cute, actually. And we find out that the pink-handed creature who showed up was none other than Tikal.
Yeah, which was a nice little, callback fest. It was nice seeing like all these old characters.
I thought that was I really enjoyed that. Again, my note for this scene was just Tikal in all caps. But also, if I may go back real quick to another note I had, when Chaos starts to fight the Gaia monster, Rotor goes, "Give him a perfect beatdown," and my note simply said, "Rotor, that joke was bad, and you should feel bad for making it." But so
it's too late. I'm sorry.
But so Coral, Pearly, and Tikal all do a special thing with the Mystic Melody to raise the shields and to kick out all the Gaia monsters. They beat the big Gaia monster. And then we find out that the reason that the water was polluted, because that was a plot element that I forgot to mention, was because of the crashed egg carrier from the first Sonic Adventure. So just callbacks all around.
Yeah, callbacks all around and like really cool ones,
Yeah, I appreciate that.
And that the reason the water isn't just like sucking into the core of the earth is because Chaos is controlling it and keeping it from disintegrating, basically, which is really neat.
Which you got to think about, like, how immeasurably powerful must Chaos be if just all the water on the planet he can just like hold still. Like, I'm just saying, like,
and he can still go out for groceries. So
yeah,
it's a lot of power.
Yeah, and yet Death Battle will still somehow have him lose. Anyway, I'm not bitter, but so Tikal is talking to the folks, and she's like, "Look, I can only show up at certain points because the Gaia energy was causing me issues. But yes, this is a temple, and we need to put a Chaos Emerald here, and it's great fun. And I got Knuckles doing some stuff right now. So go read the Great Chaos Caper."
Indeed.
And then that's really, I mean, we get some rings out of a pool, which was that meant to be like a Sad AM reference with the ring pool, maybe?
Yeah, I'd say so, because then they kind of merge the idea of like the Chows kind of helping to create rings, and they're attracted to it. So.
Oh yeah, I forgot that was a thing in the preboot. And then, okay, Ian, did you know what this meant? Rotor goes, "You come on a zone run sometime." Is that a thing? What's a zone run?
Yeah, that's what that was interesting to me, because in like preboot there are like zones, like you can go to the special zones from the games.
That's what I was thinking.
So I'm like, is that I mean, that would have to imply that happens in this world, but I just can't think of any time where they actually do that. So it's kind of interesting.
And then that pretty much wraps it up for this. And then we cut to this sloth man who's with Mighty and Ray in some forest. And they're like, "Whoa, we're gonna go be a part of the book now," and then it ends.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, overall, like, there's just I think the biggest thing that kind of keeps this arc down is just that there's just a lot of talking for a lot of nothing happening, but just like, at a certain point, I was just starting to skim because I'm just like, okay, I get it. Like, let's move on. And it's not like fighting dark Gaia creatures is ever that fun because they just disperse into smoke. So it's not really that like impactful to see them like get beat up or like destroyed like a robot would.
You can't even enjoy watching them be murdered.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but like actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like overall, like the characterization of Amy or Sonic or Coral and Rotor, like just having all the characters kind of go on this little adventure. Like I enjoyed it, but by the end of it, I was like, "Whew, let me catch my breath." That was a lot of reading.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I really like them tying it into the Sonic Universe arc. I've enjoyed that these last couple arcs, how they essentially they're implied to be going on at like the same time. It's not like, Sonic's doing this and then, later Knuckles is doing this and then later Shadow is doing this. Like they're happening concurrent. And so if you're reading them, I assume like reading them both month to month then feels more rewarding because they're literally happening at the same time. But yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, unfortunately, sorry to anybody who, like, if you noticed, our energy was kind of just like pretty neutral the whole time. It's just because this arc is just kind of fine.
Yeah.
Nothing really crazy one way or the other.
We need another countdown to chaos so we can both just be mad the whole time.
That or the train arc where it was just nonstop, like just fun.
Yeah. Or Sonic the Comic Chaos.
All right, everybody. It was really great on this episode. You can check me out on Ian Waffles, where I talk about anime stuff and bloobity bloobity blue. That's all for me. Sayonara, hasta la vista, mista.
No, Ian, come back.
Oh, fine.
I can't do this alone, even though I am strong. You need something more than me. Oh, yeah, that will bring us to the end of this episode. Ian, as he just said, he has a YouTube channel. He does anime stuff, and he's going to be. And you have a Kingdom Hearts video up already, correct? And you have another one.
Yeah, the KH1 video, and then I'm working on a KH2 video. So
yes, so go give that a watch. I'll probably his channel as well as this current one will have a little subscribe circle at the end of this. So click both of those if you could. I mean, we'd appreciate it. But yeah. So other than that, yeah, I'm still here. I do things sometimes. This is most of what I've been doing nowadays, though, because college is hard. But so yeah, you can subscribe though. I'm gonna be I'm trying to kind of move away from doing just Sonic stuff on this channel. Obviously, Sonic will always have a big presence on this channel. We're doing a Sonic podcast, but you're gonna see other stuff coming up. Keep an eye out. But yeah, I think that should just about do it. Like I said before, if you could please leave a like and leave a comment. That helps the YouTube algorithm, which helps us. Subscribe if you want to see more. And we will see you next time for the next Sonic Universe arc, the Great Chaos Caper. But until then, take care, everyone.
Take care, guys. Bye.